Hi, welcome back. I'm Caleb from Timpson, and today we're going to talk about open Wye-Delta. And I got an open Wye-Delta subtractive bank. We're going to build 120/240 three-phase with a 208 high leg. And to do this, we're going to start out by looking at the vector, and I'm going to explain this a little bit for those of you that don't completely understand the vector. And you see I drew the transformers here, and on the transformers I've labeled everything, including drawing the arrows with the heads and the tails. Now when we look at the heads and the tails, the head's always going to be on H2, the tail on H1. For your secondary, the head's always going to be on X3 and your tail on X1. So if we look at the vector here, I got H1 and H2, transformer 1 says A phase, and the H2 is grounded. So I know that right here, I'm going to run this H1 up to A phase, and this one's going to be grounded. Now you see B phase, H1 is on B phase, H2 is grounded, and that's transformer 2. So I'm going to run this right up B phase and run this down to ground. Now when we look at our secondary vector, remember this line right here is the coil inside of the transformer. That's what that line represents. Where these little points meet up is your tie legs, the transformer legs that you would put on externally on the transformers. So the X3 of transformer 1 ties to the X1 of transformer 2. You can see that right here. If I circle that connection, X3 of transformer 1 ties to the X1 of transformer 2. So I know if I'm looking at this bank, in order to do that, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take a tail and I'm going to install that right there. And that's telling me that's B phase. So I already know that I can run this down and this will be B phase. Now it's saying the X1 of transformer 1 is A phase. So I know that this is going to be A phase. And it says the X3 of transformer 2 is C phase. So I know that's going to be C phase. Now let's look at the high leg. On this transformer configuration, I can either have the high leg on C phase or A phase. It cannot be B phase though. If I wanted the high leg to be A phase, I would put my ground on transformer 2 and that would look like this. And you can see that dotted line's pointing right towards A phase, but as it stands, we have it drawn on C phase. So it looks on this vector, if you look here, I have my X2 of transformer 1 grounded and a neutral brought down, which makes C phase the high leg. And we know the phasing, we know the voltage, and we know where the high leg is prior to ever building the transformer bank to begin with. That's why if we learn vectors first, we never have to learn connections or memorize the connections because we know the vector, we've memorized the vector, and we always know where the connection points are going to be, what the phasing is going to be, what the rotation is going to be, and if we have a delta with a high leg, we know right where the high leg is going to be. So let me know if you have any questions or any ideas for further videos, and thanks.